Good morning and a warm welcome to everyone. Today we have a special workshop with a very world-renowned doctor, Dr. Anand Bhatt. He basically belongs to New Delhi, but he has settled from last so many years in Australia. He had been a global face. When you talk about emotional and mental health, he is a global face whom you can rely on, and people across the world reach out to him in online and offline mode to solve their basically health issues. He is very well versed with the acupuncture and the healing medicine. Basically, he is an energy healer, and he's an excellent yoga therapist. Most of all, he is a very knowledgeable person. He specializes in this emotional well-being. He supports many individuals through their journey of stress, anxiety. He helps them to overcome that. And the world is facing all these problems in abundance. So he is the one who takes care of the people's mental and emotional health. He has dedicated years to the humanitarian service. Basically, he does many fundraising programs for cancer patients and touching countless lives through his global community work. So I think we should really admire you for the that cancer work what you had been doing since so long. He has worked more on mindfulness and the breath work, meditation, different formats of meditation, and of course the therapeutic yoga. He is in uh, doing excellent in therapeutic yoga. He has transformed many people as of now. So we are honored to have such an eminent personality with us who can guide us, and this will help you to get a formula when you deal with patients of mental and emotional health. So with that, I again thank you all for joining. Let us begin this powerful journey towards inner balance and emotional strength. Over to Dr. Anand Bhatt sir for the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Vivek, for this warm welcome and welcome everyone here, all the participants. It's always good. I think this is a great program that Arogya Mandir is organizing because the more knowledge we can share, the more we benefit. And this system is like we help each other grow together, and the world is our OSS because, as he rightly said, mental emotional health is the need of the hour because every second, third person you see has some sort of anxiety, gut health, depression, and this is growing at a very fast rate. It's unimaginable. I've been here. I have a small clinic here in Australia. It's called Anand Wellness, and that's what I chose to keep my focus on. In fact, yesterday I had a workshop on breath work and we had around 10 participants. I try to do a lot of workshops for clients because a lot of people don't know about in-depth knowledge about yoga and how we operate. Because, as you know, um, we've got this beautiful combination of naturopathy, yoga, and that's I think we are so lucky. When I came to Australia, I felt like all the other naturopaths are doing herbs and supplements only, and this is like a big market. And even though I was from a different, background because we have studied hands-on, I was thinking, how would I survive kind of this this world of all supplements and people are going and buying, and I didn't had a lot of knowledge in that, I must say. But now I feel that this is this is a gift that I have because I can do hands-on. People can go to AI and ask GPT about medication, herbs, supplements, everything, but nobody can take what's in the head or what's in our hand. So I believe we are very, very fortunate that the system of education we had in that. So with that, I'll start the basic introduction. Dr. Vivek has done. I've done my BNYS, completed in 2002. Then I went to Africa was my first project where I worked in India for 3, 4 years teaching and working in different hospital settings. It was great experience because, and that's something I would highly encourage. I think some of your practitioners, some of your students, I would highly encourage the clinical practice part because that really forms a solid foundation for you guys. So after working 2, 3 years in India, then I got a project on in Africa, which was basically for yoga. So my job was to teach yoga to the core team of a construction company. Now, this company had 1,500 employees, but 50 core team is what my job was to enhance their productivity uh, so that they can then manage this big task force. Uh, it was an amazing experience because every time you get into a new, role, you kind of are excited as well. But if you have a solid knowledge of what you're doing, a good background, and a good clinical practice, you can do wonders. So my project was very simple: teach yoga, 2 classes morning, one evening. I had it was a lavish package of salary. Everything was so good that at that time I was quite high. But what I did was I took data. So when I started the classes, I asked everyone to get their blood tests done. There was few thyroid issues, there was few asthmatics, hypertensives, and all those come with a desk job. And then in the end, I took the same. So I went a little bit outside the box, and that's what I would like you to start thinking outside the box because there is so much growth in our system. There's so much innovation that you can bring. So with these results before and after, I had some amazing transformation from people. Um, one client, he lost like 45 kilos in 6 months just with yoga. We did, sun salutations, a lot of Kapalabhati. We do Kapalabhati, and the sweat will just drip down our face. And 45 kilos, a remarkable experience there. So that really boosted me up to say, wow, this is amazing what I'm getting here. But I wanted to grow more because I wanted to study more and enhance my skills as well. So then I came back to India and I enrolled in a master's in America. So it was like 2007. It was 2 years of course, full-time course. It was in Washington, D.C. So along with studying, I also looked out for different yoga studios. I sent applications everywhere. And then one studio said, okay, come on in. So I showed my credentials, which they were blown off. They're like, wow, you studied so much yoga than any Westerners has. So I kind of got into a deal to say, I'll work here and I'll do some work exchange. So I'll work my services, volunteer services, and in return I'll study more therapeutics in yoga because I had to study Western style as well. And that went really good. I started working. I also uh, then started working officially in that studio as manager. So, and that's how you make your way. Masters in health admin gave me something, but still my core values were naturopathy. Got membership in IAYT, that's International Association of Yoga Therapists in America. And then recently I've completed a diploma in counseling. So study, when you finish your BNYS, you practice, a really solid foundation. Then you're like, what next? Because there is so much to be explored. There's so much there that you need to work towards. So then, and that will only come as you take a deep dive. You take a deep dive and say, oh, this is my market. And I was very lucky to practice in few countries and gain so much knowledge. Your travel makes you really, there's so much knowledge, there's so much you bring in when you travel, meet different people, different cultures. So when I was in America, I got a chance to work in the BVIs as a spa therapist. I did massage, acupuncture, yoga. One thing I always stayed with was yoga. Wherever I went, I tried to keep the yoga knowledge up. And that has given me immense benefit in my practice. So the course, what we've done is just amazing. I can't say enough. Then I'm in Australia for last 12 years. I've worked in different settings for a few years, but since last 3 years, I'm running my own clinic, which is called Anand Wellness. I've had good experience working with different systems as well, as I said already, hotels and all. But really, I had to come back to clinical practice because that was my calling. And you might have your calling as well. So I want you to really listen to your calling. What are common health issues? What I see here, because Western world is a bit different than our side of the world. Um, People have everything essentially, but of course, there's not much peace, and that's how it is. We've got everything in life, and then we worry so much. We talk about Middle East with all the crisis, wars, people are struggling just for a loaf of bread. But in the Western world, mostly people have got everything here, but no mental peace. So gut health is quite common. What I say, then there's inflammation. Inflammation is now more or less a generic word. Everyone carries some inflammation. I think me and you, we all might carry some sort of inflammation in our system as well. Hormonal issues are quite common, and I see like endometriosis, a lot of that, fibroids, IVF. I do a lot of work with IVF because people can't fall pregnant. They think it is very difficult now because there's so many mental blocks that can stop us. So they're not kind of flowing, they're not really connecting with the nature. And as you all know, that nature does not rush. Nature has its own course. Like the sun rises at a time, sun sets at a time, the change of seasons, everything works with nature. And you got to trust the nature as well. But what we are doing is we are rushing, race, mad race, and thinking or wishing we had more time. But the truth is that we have enough time. And this rushing keeps our autonomic nervous system very busy. And that's where the start of mental emotional health. Anxiety is on the rise. Recently, I had a client come in and she had quite a lot of panic attacks. I feel you are aware of that. Panic attacks are quite common with anxiety. And when I was talking to her, she was not making an eye contact. She was looking down, and her finger was just around her hair. She was just twirling. This was a constant thing. And that's something, as a clinician, you got to use is not only listen to what they're saying, but also observe the non-verbals because that's where a lot of diagnosis is hidden. How they present, how they are, shaky, trembly, moving their legs a lot, talking very fast, rapid, rah, 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 like that. So really, um, so she came in, talked, and I only listened. And that's also your role as a clinician to listen, be a good listener, because that's when half of the things are get help because they have really literally created a big dump, whatever they had, they just dumped on you, and now they feel relaxed because hey, I'll talk to somebody. Anyway, so talk a lot, and I just took her to the treatment table. And we started breathing, just basic breath work, doing a bit of neck shoulder release with massage, few acupuncture needles with that as well. And then in like 20 minutes, you can see that the heart rate is coming down, the blood pressure coming down, the pulse oximeter, she was able to get more oxygen into the system. So basic tools. And this is how we'll see a lot of patients, like extreme wired up. One of the girls is 16, 17, extreme anxiety, panic attacks that she doesn't want to leave her home. Happy to be confined in that four walls of her house. And thus the happy place is her bathroom where she can turn the tap on and listen to the sound of the water. So mm, so what I mean to say is that it is a big range from 15, 16, or now even school students to 70, 80s. I've seen quite a lot of prevalence of anxiety. And in New Zealand as well itself, there's a lot of school student suicides. There's a lot of self-harm. I've seen clients who, I can see the hand, and there's so many cut marks because of the self-harm. They want to kind of have a bit of control like that. It's unfortunate. It's sad, these young people who are have so much to do in their life, and that's how they're trying to kind of take control by harming themselves. And because once they have full hair, all the parents say they go on inner thighs, and then that's how they start to uh, just cut themselves. It's sad. Carcinomas are on rise, especially after COVID. We have a lot of carcinomas, which are to a degree like crazy. A lot of new diagnoses, a lot of new autoimmune conditions. The terms that I've never read in our, Davidson or any medicine book. I've, I see so many of those. I had one client who had a really bad cancer in her pelvis that they literally had to pour the radiation, the chemo. So it wasn't going to work with traditional chemotherapy. They had to literally pour. So half of her liver was gone, her pancreas part of that. They had to remove some part of intestines. Quite a lot of damage. So, but these are on rise because the mind is quite busy. You know, quickly coming onto the model's lifestyle. There's overstimulation. We are quite stimulated. We're quite overstimulated with everything. We're kind of surviving on caffeine a lot. A lot of synthetic drugs come into action as well. A lack of rest. Say 30 years ago, we had a good sleep pattern. So if you if you understand it right, 1/3 of our life we are sleeping. This is how much we spend in sleep. So, average, if you're living 133 years, you are in sleep. But that has changed now. 30 years back, 8, 9, 10 hours was quite normal, and then it slowly reduced. And now I feel average people are getting like 5 hours, 6 hours, and that too broken sleep. So when we don't rest, our bodies don't heal. It is exactly like if you're going to sleep and you put your dishwasher on the machine, and it just does its work while you're sleeping. And in the morning, all the utensils, vessels are pretty shiny. So sleep is a big commodity. Sleep issues are quite huge. And that's why we're constantly wired up in our nervous system because we are not resting well. And when we're not resting well, then our bodies are not healing as they should as well. So nervous system is quite, wired up. Same with the autonomic, the heart rate, the breathing, it's all quite fast now. And similarly, the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic is quite high, so your heart rate, pulse, blood pressure. So we need to really start shifting the energies to a parasympathetic one. You know how we always talk about flight or fight? I'm sure you have studied in your textbooks about it all the time. Fight or flight, a typical example, an encounter with a snake or a lion, and when your pupils get dilated, your muscles start to tighten up, your throat gets dry because you're ready for a fight or fight. So, end of the day, the stimulus is gone, and you're back to rest and restore. This is how it used to be. Unfortunately, now we are constantly in this heightened state of fight or flight. And that's really keeping us wired up, too much wired up. So we're not able to kind of come back down to find our balance and peace. So we're kind of losing our mind body connection here. There's a lot of fatigue. I see a lot of clients which have like chronic fatigue, even though after a good night's sleep, they're not feeling rested. They're constantly, lethargic, tired, no energies, their adrenals are tired and burnout. Now here in Australia, there's also they can take a day off for burnout, which is very interesting. We don't get to take that off because we work for ourselves and we got to help these people. So burnout leave is a thing here. I don't know if it is in India. Um, so you're constantly wired up, constantly into fight or flight mode, and that doesn't change. And that literally keeps us all, hyperactive. And you know what way do we hold our tensions a lot? In our traps. So this upper traps is where we hold everything. So sometimes I'll see clients walking into my clinic like this, really tight. I'm like, why are your shoulders up? And then they drop. I don't know. So we don't even know where we are holding, but we all are so tightened up because of this heightened anxiety. People come with very tight jaw because that's where we are also holding a lot of tensions. We say that we think with our jaw now, and we've got these two clients who have managed to break their molars either in sleep or while just driving or thinking, clench, grind too hard that it has broken the molar. So can you imagine how much tensions we are holding in the body? We say that the issue is in the tissues. So our body can hold these stresses, and we all have different kind of mechanisms. So it will hold it. Some people in their jaw, neck, shoulders are very common. So if you see any patients, you must work on releasing that neck shoulder because that's where we hold a lot of our stresses. Um, Next, chronic stress, overload, the deadlines, the pressures, targets, the bragging rights, which means, I'm the best, my dress is the best, all those things. So we are kind of in a bad state of competition with everyone else. And our target chores, target pressures are quite a lot. Um, Traumatic experience, and now this is something that as a naturopath we must try to address. That means talk and listen because I believe a lot of these root from the childhood. There's a lot of stuff that comes from childhood as well. Unresolved traumas, unresolved emotions, like there's a violent upbringing. I think these days it's quite different with everything. But I remember when we grew up, we had quite strong like teachers and all those systems. But I think it did work in our favor, and we kind of came into the line. But those things can really play a big role as well. Unresolved emotions and lack of social support. I feel that loneliness loneliness in a Western world is quite a lot more, I feel, because back in India we got good social support. You step out of the house, you got, four people to say hello and at least talk. We see people, we've got billions of people there, so the whole population of Australia is just nearly equal to population of New Delhi, and it's crazy. So it's a big country, but population is less here. So here I feel that people dying from stroke as a result of heart condition um, is less than people dying of stroke from lack of social support or loneliness. Loneliness is quite big. As I said, they've got everything, but peace is missing. Okay, what else? So, symptoms, as you probably know or you've seen patients excessive fear, they can be fear blocks. I'll give you a very quick example of a client who came to me. This client was in her 40s. She was driving on the highway and she has her 1.5-year-old daughter in the back seat. Here they all have that seat for the kids. So it was all tucked in. Driving on the highway, all of a sudden the car stops of no reason. She don't know how, why, and the car stops. Nobody's injured, nobody's harmed. Kid is safe, mother is safe, and car is no, to be fixed. But that kind of triggered a fear block in this client. So let's call that client JJ. Keep it. Another thing you must know also is to keep the anonymity. If you've got clients consent to share, that's great. But if not, anonymous. So JJ had this fear block in her system from that day, and then from that day she decided she doesn't want to drive on the highway. Now her office was say 60 kilometers. I mean, here 60 kilometers is not too bad because the speed zone is 100 or 110. So 45 minutes, 1 hour, you're there. Although now the traffic jams are more. But she didn't want to go on highway. And this place, she took and 90 minutes, 100 minutes to go one way. So she will choose anything but not to drive on the highway. So I saw JJ for a consult and she told what has happened. Nobody was hurt, nobody was injured. That lock set in. So I said, JJ, do you want to overcome this fear? Because this will make your life easier. Because her kids had to go to basketball and other sports quite far, and her husband had to do all the driving because she can't drive. And she said, yeah, I want to overcome this. So um, we worked on some goals. And firstly, I said, look, you need to work on some affirmations. I like to work on affirmations a lot because then we kind of create our goals. And so an affirmation for, for those who don't know, the affirmations are some goals. So can you please turn your mute on, guys? So affirmations are the goals that we put in place. So if I say, I've got this chronic pain, I want to really get rid of this pain, I would say that I'm now pain free. I start to say it is more like a law of attraction. So I asked her to prepare some affirmation, just 2 or 3 lines that I let go of the fear blocks, my brain destroys all the fear, something like that. Now the affirmation has to be your own words. I can't make it for the clients. I can modify, I can fine tune, I can polish, but I can't make it because it has to be your own word. So if you're seeing any clients, if you want to do that, then let them do it and then polish it. But they have to be really solid words. They have to be in the present moment. And also, you got to put a lot of emotions and feelings to those words because that's when you'll start working. And I work with affirmations quite a lot. And myself, because I work for myself, sometimes I may not have a lot of clients. I have a free week. And then my wife says, "Oh, what's going to happen?" And this mortgage going and kids and all. But then sort of some affirmations. Now, the affirmations can't come out of greed. It has to be just pure motive to help others. So I was like, this week, this Saturday, I will be seeing like 8 clients or 6 clients. I'll put a number in my mind and just try to really, try to get it into the universe. And sometimes I would even put a specific client in my mind to say, well, I haven't seen Monica for a while, so maybe I should, or I haven't seen Ian, from last 6 months. So I'll just connect telepathically. And it's magical how sometimes a text comes the same day or next day to say, oh, I was thinking of looking in. Uh, so, so some affirmations are really powerful. So if you're a young practitioner who is starting a practice or a healer which is ongoing for some years can still use this power to really attract. But my affirmations were like, I love and heal my clients. I give 100% to my clients' healing. And my clients refer other clients. And it has come to that same, if I say 8 clients, it will end up 8 clients. If I say 6 clients, it will. So it's magical what it can do. But again, you got to have a faith. You got to put your everything into those words, and like a mantra, you have to repeat that. So that's how it will work. So anyway, with JJ, we worked with this affirmations. We said come to yoga, start working with meditation, breath work. Take some magnesium because that can really help. And this is when supplementations come. We do use quite a lot. Gut health, we say, use some good pre and probiotic because as we know, most of our immune system lives in our brain and there's a strong connection of gut and brain. We worked 2, 3 months. We worked very hard, kept going. She was determined that she needs to overcome this fear. And then one day I said, JJ, are you ready? She said, yeah, what for? And I said, so are you ready to drive on the highway? And she said, oh, yes. I said, okay, then we are going for a ride. She said, what? Now? Like, yeah, we'll go for a ride together. I'll sit next to you. She said, are you sure? I said, look, I've already called my family and said, I've already told them I love you, so I'm ready to go. It's kind of funny to make it a bit lighter for her. So we went. So we went on the highway, drove, and she took the exit to highway and she was driving fine, perfectly fine, and she could not believe what she had achieved. And I said, did you feel funny when you're kind of taking the highway? And she said, yeah, for a moment I thought that my heart was coming out of my chest. But then it was okay. So she couldn't believe that she had actually overcome these fear blocks. But it took time, it took efforts, it took a teamwork. So fear block is quite a lot in our society. There's so much worries. On a lot of things are not even, doesn't even matter. There's a lot of anxiety, anger. You can see a lot of anger in the roads these days. Here, those issues are quite a lot. Outbursts, like there's so much emotional outbursts and there's so much they want to release. Hopelessness because they're like, oh, I don't think I can become any better. And this is this self-talk, negative self-talk. This stuck energy is there. And emotionally numbness, I'm like, I can't, really feel any emotions for this person, that person. I'm numb because I've got my own issues. Anger to a certain extent. I've seen clients who are holding the chair as they are talking and so tight that they might break the handle of the chair. So those things are the symptoms. And cognitively, you see poor concentration, racing thoughts, the monkey mind that never stops. I mean, look, we all have our own monkey mind, our own thoughts which keep going, doesn't stop. But to reduce the thoughts is the key. You can't completely be thoughtless because you've been thinking since the day you're born or even inside the womb. And even before you could speak, you're thinking. So it's really practically impossible to have a thoughtless mind. But you can reduce the traffic. There's confusion. Simple decisions can take long time. There's a lot of negative self-talk. I don't think I can do it. Oh, what will he say? What if this goes wrong? What if that and all this goes? It's like a monster chasing you. It's like a monster constantly chasing you. The more you run, the more it's gonna chase. But when you stop, you turn around and face it, it will go. It will go. And that's what we got to really inculcate in our clients that you can't do it. Otherwise, they go into such a dark space that they can't really recover. And it's very sad to see that human life get wasted. Memory problems, I think that's quite common as well. Forgetfulness, um, fatigue, low energy, body aches, the heartbeat, rises, palpitations. You know how we say that when we were there's this philosophy I try to tell people that when we were born, we got X number of breaths. And so you say, hey, you got 2 million breaths to use in your lifetime. So, and this is a good analogy for your patients. You can tell them like that. You got 2 million breaths. Now, what happens when you're anxious or fearful or angry? Do you breathe slow or fast? Naturally, breathe fast. So you're kind of using up that 2 million faster. That means you're cutting down your life faster. So you teach them to breathe better, to breathe better. There's so much shallow breathing in the society. Um, the body aches because we hold so much tension in our jaw and our shoulders that we're all constantly in the pain. We're just experiencing the pain. Sleep disturbance, I already said that this is on the depletion, and that's not looking good, guys. Not looking good. Muscle tensions, that's physical. There's social withdrawals. When I become too much anxious, I really don't want to see anybody. We don't want to. I don't want to deal with anything. Um, I can't express my emotions because I'm so numb in myself, and I'm so confused of what's happening to me. Relationship issues come, and as I said, to fall pregnant can be a big issue, which is a simple thing, but they go to, and these days what I'm finding is people want a diagnosis. They go to these tons of tests. It's crazy. One of my clients went to all these tests and she said, oh, I've got gastritis. I'm like, wow. Took us 6 months to diagnose that. Um, and but that doesn't end there. They want more. Like once that's done, they're like, oh, there's something else wrong. I want to know. They just keep going into this crazy cycle. Mm. They don't feel interested in doing anything. Like can't be bothered. Sit in the house, look at Netflix all day, all night. No friends. And now the other thing now is the Generation Z, as Dr. Vivek was saying, a younger generation, they don't want to talk on the phone. I've seen clients, their kids, they are fearful when the phone rings. They don't want to ring, take and call. They're all texters, all Instagram people, all the Reels people. So we got to, so the human interaction is quite low, a reduced interaction. And as I said here, we've got everything here, but yeah, there's lack of interest. When you compare to this with other in our side of country or world that we got, there's work where the people don't have jobs. They're really struggling. So these are the symptoms. Lifestyle factor. Now this is the biopsychosocial contributors. We always talk about gut and brain axis. I think we've done that a little bit because all these bacteria, all this gut flora plays a huge role in how we think, how our thoughts are. That plays a big role. Movement, people become so sedentary that they don't want to move. And when you don't move, of course, you get sluggish gut, your brain doesn't perform well because you don't have any stimulus. There's not enough stimulus and there's not enough movement here. Connect to nature. We got to connect to the nature. We got to do this grounding, earthing. I tell my clients, go and stand out in the grass, bare feet and get this earthing done. Social isolation is there, and the inflammation then it comes in, it just becomes chronic. You just feel so lethargic, pain comes, they can't do anything, the brain fog comes, the cloudy thoughts come, and it's all a typical, it's a down path. Imbalance in your chi, your liver, energy is reduced, your kidney meridian becomes low. So what do we do as a naturopaths? We definitely take case histories. We work on their stress and lifestyle questionnaire. So perhaps I don't have one because I just talk to people, but perhaps it will be good to do the stress and lifestyle questionnaire, which can have sleep, how many hours, emotions, mental incontinence, anything that you can. I'm sure there may be some formats going around there which you can work out. Sleep quality, because sometimes people wake up at 3 a.m. and that becomes a routine now every night. 3 a.m. the before the lights eyes open up and they can't go to sleep. And that's, if you just try to go back to the nature to see what they were meant to be, like sleep, gut, rest, relaxation, it might help. Nutritional evaluation, because again there's so many beliefs. Some are vegetarians, vegans, some are, all these different modalities where they don't want to, they're restricted diet. And so that's where we got to really think, how can we supplement? Because as I said, magnesium is one such thing that is quite low in a lot of people. And it is said that over 30, every woman, every day, magnesium is must. Because the soil quality is poor, we don't get a lot from the diet, so we must then supplement. We must also talk about gut health, gut floras, probiotic support, things like that. Always talk about the triggers, your caffeine, your circadian rhythm, the mind-body connection as well. Sometimes people are just disconnected. They don't even know what they're saying, what's coming off the mouth. Their memories are quite low, and they just hang on to all this unresolved stress because, and that's where we do the best. Like if they're angry at a client who was say 60 and she had a conflict with her sister, say 30 years back, and not talking to her, but also holding her in her heart, like really with anger every day, like thinking about that. And um, what happens then when where do you hold your anger? That's in pancreas. So last 15 years, she was, diagnosed diabetes. And so I'm like, you know, you can't resolve everything, but to see how best we can maintain peace because of her own health. As I look, you got to either forgive and move on, or make amends and connect again. But this is the thing that we hold on to these emotions, and they let's disturb our bodies. Okay, what's next? So, breath work wise, we got to also check how they're breathing because sometimes they'll come to you and you're like, they're talking, but they're like hyperventilating. That's why you got to check because, of course, they're not sending enough oxygen in their brain. They can't think straight. There's cloudiness because there's fog, there's cloudy brain. So you also got to check if they're breathing from the mouth or nose. How are they exhaling? Basic things. So hopefully from today you can look a bit more better and look into their eyes and say, yeah, I hear you. I see you. You got to really connect well for them to trust you and for you to heal them. TCM wise, if you do the pulse or anything, you'll feel some stagnation in liver, heart, kidney disharmony, things like that. Doesn't, if you do a pulse, but also it's good to check pulse anyways, because one, there's a good psychological connection, there's a touch there, and the patient, they trust as well for that. We always, as a naturopath, work on root cause, mind body, because it's not, one tablet is not the answer for everything. One pill doesn't work for everyone, so we got to then modify, right? um, Promoting long-term healing is the goal because it's not like and I've seen patients on antidepressant for 10, 15 years and I'm like, wow, I mean, it hasn't done anything except you're put on 15 kilos and you've got gastritis out of this. But people become so dependent on that, unfortunately. Um, Always work with mind body. I would recommend mind body, because as we talk about the panchakoshas, I'm a very high believer in that. You say the mind, annamaya, pranamaya, manomaya, everything starts there, a bit of disturbance, then the breath is altered, and then the symptoms pop up in your physical state. The promotion of the long-term healing. This is the way because when you teach them lifestyle to say how, what can it do for you, or visualization. Imagine, you're able to get down the car very quick. You're fast moving. You're not lethargic anymore. What can you achieve? So really have to paint a picture to your clients or patients. Juicing I find is quite good as well. I would do like pineapple is good. Any anti-inflammatory, beetroot, a bit of green apple, carrot, turmeric, ginger, and you can modify it as well. Or diet, mono diet, and those, because diet has so much stimulant, so much dye, so much preservatives in our food that it doesn't really give us energy. It just fills us up but doesn't give us much nutrition. Natural therapies, I don't do a lot of hydrotherapy here because I don't have capability. But there you got so good. I always wish that I had a good setup here, which I can really incorporate those. Compresses, poultices, mud is a good healer because it is the earth element. Hot stones, cold stones, using them to connect reflexology track, how we have in some hospitals. I really love that because touch it, touch water, touch earth. I do a lot of allergy healing, energy healing, chakra balancing. I do a lot of that, which is a lot of guided work. I teach meditation every week as a class, and it has helped me. It helps me immensely as well because sometimes you have this crazy day, week, but come meditation and yoga, you feel good. That's the beauty of it. And that's why I say, stick to yoga wherever you are, whatever way you can teach. It can be chair yoga. Thursdays I teach a chair yoga. So just on the chair, this neck stretches, this and that. Good, but try to because it's one of the things I would um, never leave until I can. Talked about magnesium earlier. Pre and probiotic omega 3s are good as well. Tryptophan rich foods. You adapt to chance, like ashwagandha. Now, ashwagandha is kind of selling like hotcakes here because it's trending. Shilajit is trending. And I hear these from the local clients, Australian, UK clients are like, I take ashwagandha. I'm like, oh, wow, okay. Because it's not easy to pronounce for a Westerner, right? But there. And Shilajit, I've been taking like, wow, that's very good. So it's slowly making an impact. The herbs that we have. We've got some really good herbs in India that we can use, promote, because always a good treatment, herb supplements, lifestyle, affirmations, prayer. All combination works amazingly. Calmatives like chamomile. I have a herbal dispensary inside where I prepare some herbs, Western herbs, like I mix up some lavender, some lemon balm, some chamomile, and few other things depending on their symptoms. And that's how I heal. I've got I think 5 more minutes. Yoga, again, breath work, I feel, is a great way. If you really stick with your breath, it can amazingly change their physiology and it is instant. The benefits from breath is instant. So I had a client who came with really high blood pressure and you know how with clients there's so many smart devices that you wear, watch and she said, oh, my watch is saying I don't sleep very well. I'm like, how long did you sleep last night? She's like, 7 hours. And were you rested? Yeah. I said, well, then you ditch your watch, get rid of that. Because we're so dependent on these tools that we can't look at ourselves. So anyway, our BP was very high, got on the table, 5 minutes of breath, muscle relaxation. The blood pressure came down like 20 to 30 units straight away. It's instant. So always teach them breathing because it's not the normal breath. There's so much to be explored. Um, Yoga is good. Again, they can do in their own capacity. Child pose is really good for emotions, and I love child pose because you can surrender, totally let go of the worries and stresses as well. Forward fold, they can really help you to soothe in your mind. Cobra, the back bends and lifting your moods. I really like legs up the wall, really, and get something under their back and really let the chest open. So I would say them to roll a towel, put them under the spine, and legs up the wall or legs up the chair, and really open the heart because with our lifestyle now, we've got so much happening, like in our pecs, because we are constantly slouched forward. Our pecs have shortened up, where our middle traps, lower traps have become so lazy. Our upper traps are working too hard. Our jaw, the tight, strongest muscle of the body is really showing that its impact for the stress and anxiety. Diaphragmatic breathing is just taking them to a bit more deeper space. Box breathing, which is 4 is to 4 is to 4 is to 4. It's quite popular, and you can modify it because a lot of people find, okay, inhale, hold, exhale, okay, but after the exhale, the pause can be tricky for them because they haven't done it. So the box breathing is inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, like that. So teach them breathing. 4, 7, 8. Inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8. Those. And again, somewhere all these things have come from pranayams, from our basic saints and yogis who have just done it naturally, and now they name it so differently. And I also go and attend Pilates class sometimes, and the stuff they do, they change the names of the postures and yeah, teaching it. So left nostril breathing is good. Nadi Shodhi, always good balancing breath. The routine you can give them depending on what they like. Just a bit of, always try to start with the basic what they can do. If you give them too much, and that can be a problem. So just breathing in the morning, gentle stretching with chair or on the floor if they can. Use the wall where they need to. Breakfast, nice warm breakfast to stimulate the energy. Exposure to nature is really good. Walking if they can, always great. I love walking as compared to anything else. Mindful eating, like I say, slowly, slow down, drink your solids, chew your liquids. You remember that since our college days, which is amazing. And I teach that people like, oh, that is profound. Journaling, as I said, just write on the events of the day, write your affirmations, do a bit of meditation in the sleep, which can be like, just placing your hand on the chest and doing a bit of reverse counting as you breathe, and that can help your client. So, that is me, guys. Thank you. I think I've finished just at the time. I'm happy to do some question answers if you like. Over to you, Dr. Wu. Get some water now.
So we can close the screen sharing. So we'll go
Okay.
ahead. Perfect. So we have a few questions. Before that, I'll just like to summarize the session in my words before we go ahead with the sessions. It was a truly wonderful session, the way you have experienced the transformation by teaching the people. And the few things which is the need of our one thing what you had been telling about, we are more into rush state. So that is one of the major problem. We have to learn doing the things in a calm and a relaxed manner. Meanwhile, you can write down your questions in the chat box so that after this we can take up the questions. The second important thing you emphasized was the lack of sleep, the broken sleep, which is one of the major cause and of the present day health issues, the emotional issues, as well as the physical health issues. Of course, the healing is not there, recovery is not there, and many people are facing this particular challenges. I do agree. And once you don't sleep or take rest properly, the aging starts. You age in less age. You start to look old in even in your 30s and 40s.
Yes.
Then you also focus on one important factor that most of us, we are not aware of about our postures. We are walking with tight shoulders, tight jaw. That is because of so much of stress. And of course, one of the reason of this tightness in the jaw is not eating the raw food. I was talking to a dentist. She was telling that earlier the molars used to be powerful. It used to come because we used to chew the food. Nowadays, people are not getting their molar teeth. The reason they're not chewing the food.
Hmm.
Chewing
Very
the
interesting.
This is one of the interesting thing what I was going through. And she comes to my session and she was telling, sir, people should eat raw food. If they eat raw food, then their teeth will be far more better. If they have the molar teeth, then we say that the wisdom comes with that molar teeth.
Isn't it? Yes.
Yeah. So if you're not eating raw food, you're not getting that molar, then I think the lack of wisdom. I don't know how we can correlate
Mm.
contextually. Next thing, so you should focus on awareness of your posture. And I think yoga is one of the best tool, as you were mentioning, that we can focus and we can be aware of our postures to overcome our postural deformities. A lot of us, we face postural deformities just because we're not aware of it. So I request everyone, you can please take care of those things, small things. of course, traumatic experiences. And one beautiful, I think I really like the way you said that about affirmations. When you were saying about affirmations that you practice and you make others to practice, and in affirmation state, you told that you are able to connect with them through telepathically, and you happen to get their messages the very day or very next day. That itself means how powerful the internal mind is.
Yeah.
I This is one of the greatest teaching to every one of you who are can focus on these particular things for self growth. So I think your session, um, I particularly feel had everything what a student or doctor should start implementing into their practice and help and heal the patients which are rising to a great extent. So I think it's really wonderful to have you with us with such a profound knowledge, such a beautiful explanation of the small
Thank
thing.
you.
And it was so charming to hear you. The way you speak is really good. And
Thank you. Thank
friends, I would like to let you know that we both are colleagues. We are both are classmates. We happen to be nine.
You corrected a participants. Zero anonymous and
Yeah, we happen to be 1996 batch of SDM and eighth batch, and he was from Delhi, and right now he has settled in Australia. So let us have this questions now coming to the chat box. The first comes from Dr. Megha Kocher. Sir, in your experience as an international speaker, have you observed cultural differences in the way mental health stigma is confronted among young adults in different countries, especially in relation to naturopathy and holistic care?
you. Okay, Megha. So, good question because mental health is quite complicated topic, and of course, women like female clients are quite more open about those things, and but slowly things are changing. The males are also identifying that mental health is an issue because the only thing is the males they keep going, just shoving all the thoughts and one day, they just end their life. So it's slowly changing. The stigma is changing. People are coming up. There's a lot of help available as well in different countries. Like here, through your doctor, you can get a mental health plan, which you can get like subsidized priced sessions with a counselor or a psychologist. So it is the stigma is changing. It is slow, but it is surely changing now.
So, do you think that mental health in different countries varies, or the mental
I
health
think so.
remains the same?
Yeah, like Western world, I think now that really keep it as a top priority, I think. But in kind of Middle Eastern and all, there won't be as much awareness, I think. It's just like, back in India, they're like, just keep going, don't worry. Tell them all good.
That's
But here it's quite a lot, like people take it seriously because here I think the value of life is quite a lot. I think they've got a lot of resources as well. So there's panelists in the board who can do that. So yeah, it is varying still. It needs to be because that's for our young practitioners. That is a great avenue for you to already start working because it's coming.
that's hope Dr. Mega it answers your question. Yes, there are variabilities seen. Next question is from uh, Bhavna ji. Sir, do you think improper sleep habits cause decline in mental health, or does the declining mental health lead to sleep disturbances? I have had patients come in with disturbed sleep due to sleep paralysis. I don't know if it's common.
Yes, Bhavana. So yes, they both are interconnected. I feel that, but I think the mental health would be the first, like because when you're thinking, when you're really, because people are not getting restful sleep because their mind is still busy there because the subconscious is thinking, And when I see the clients, when I'm guiding them through meditation or chakras or um, guided work, I can see there's a lot of twitching happening in their body, like shaking of the legs and hands. So I feel that there's so much stored in the brain that that can cause sleep disturbance because your subconscious mind is not rested. You're always active. Even so, when you're sleeping, mind is active. I feel they are connected, but I feel the mental health would lead to disturbances unless there is any other pathology behind it. Yeah, so we always work on mind, always work on retraining the mind, calming the mind. um that's how I would do. Hope that
Great.
answers.
I think, yes, Bhavnaji, hope that answers. Yes, you should focus on the mental health. And if you focus on mental health, I think the sleep can be automatically corrected. Coming to the next question, it comes from Dr. Megha ji, and she says, "Hi sir, what is the correct order of practicing pranayam? Surya Anulom Vilom, Chandra Anulom Vilom, Surya Vedan,
Mhm.
Chandra Vedan, Nadi Shodhan, Sadanta, Sheetli, Sheetkari, and Brahmari." She wants them to arrange in a chronological.
I really don't know that order actually, to be very frank, because here in my classes I can one day do, if it is a hot day, I'll do Chandra or I'll do Sheetli, Sheetkari. So I really don't know what's the order. I'm very sorry, but because we don't have elaborate um, session on breath, which we should. I'm sure there has to be some text around it, I think.
Um,
Sorry to interrupt. Am I audible?
yes, you are.
Yes.
Sorry, I have seen in many textbooks they are starting with cooling pranayams first. In other textbooks, it is starting like uh, from the heating pranayamas first. So that's why that doubt
Yeah.
came.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think
sir.
also it also depends on the demographics, I think, where you are, how you start your practice. But because if I'm teaching a class, I have 1 hour, right? So I will do a bit of grounding and then a bit of breath work, which can have one or two pranayamas. Then I'll do with yoga and then come down to the shavasana. So I haven't done much research, which I should, but yeah, which is very interesting question.
Yes, Dr. Anand, as you said, it varies from demographics because in Western countries, especially where the climatic conditions are cold, so they may prefer to start with the heating pranayamas like Bhastrika and all. But in country like ours, where we live near to equator or the heating is much higher,
Yeah.
but such um, as of what we have experienced all these years, we do this climatic wise. As if we are in summers, we prefer more of the cooling things. When we are in winters, we more prefer more of heating things.
Makes
So
sense.
one or two pranayam is more than sufficient rather than doing everything together. I think that will create a mess. So I
Yeah.
personally feel practice of two or three pranayam at a time is more than sufficient. See, it's like eating everything in one day. You're not supposed to do that. I think it should be a
Yeah.
proper segmented.
Uh,
Yeah.
because while teaching, if we are into Nadi Shuddhi first, they'll be confused. So I always start with left nostril breathing. Then I give right nostril breathing. Then I teach them the Bhedana, right to left, 4 5 times. Then
Okay.
in the next session, I go to the Nadi Shuddhi. Then only they will understand the way of doing Nadi Shuddhi right. Otherwise, they'll be confused. So I used to do like that, but when I heard or when I attended one of my colleagues' class, they were starting means the cooling pranayamas first. So there were discussion, but the answer was like dissounding. They were also confused what to start first, like that. That's why I
So
came with the
this question is out of syllabus. Sorry. Yes, that's what I can say.
Like that, if you're giving more, sir, we will be ending up
Yeah,
with so
yeah,
many questions. There is no
no,
answers for that.
yeah. And that's why there's more scope because we can definitely learn about this. Okay, let's move on because the clock is ticking.
Fine. So, Dr. Megha, you can continue to do the way you are doing is right. Doing the Surya Anulom Vilom, Chandra Anulom Vilom, and then Bhedan Pranayam and
No, no,
Narishwar.
I didn't keep it in the order. I just asked like that.
Okay.
I haven't put it in order, sir. Thank you. Thank
Sir, can childhood bruxism be an early sign of emotional imbalance, and how should we approach it holistically? This childhood issues, how
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's depends on how young the kids are because the kids I can see now kids are grinding already like 6, 7 year old kids are grinding teeth and um, it can because there's so much like I've seen a kid who every day coming from school he'll vomit just every day he'll come and vomit what doesn't matter what he ate but turned out that when he was school, of course, kids were bullying him and he couldn't express everything in the school. But come home, he had to this is his way to release those emotions. So I feel kids these days are holding so much tensions in their system that we don't even know because we can talk what kids like. And I can see, I've got a young daughter who is turning 9, and I can see that, I can see sometimes she's grinding and so definitely there can be some emotional imbalances because there's, as kids have too much technology in their hand now. There's one-way communication, and they're holding tension. So there can be. So holistically, how can we approach? Yes, I would make it kind of breath work, like almost like how we say that reverse counting, when you maybe put a little book on her belly and say, oh, breathe in and out or count. So kind of indirectly put like a breath work or maybe a cold baths, like nice baths with some salts, a mud application. A lot of crystals also help actually with finding that. And of course, diet plays a big role because, as you all know, the diet these days is total crap. Of course, with the kids, there's too much sugar in everything, and that. So that's how you would help that. Make I hope that helps.
yeah. Coming to the next, as you said, sir, people want diagnosis. I believe the people in our country think the treatment lies in the medication, and when we suggest that the real treatment lies in lifestyle modification, they pay little or no attention to it. How to be more convincing as a physician, sir?
And this is the I think the power of your connection with your client because this is why they come to you because they're one. If they come to you, that means they're one kind of trying something different. And this is between you and them. Like when I talk to my client, I have to put my 100% and I have to believe in that system. And once I believe, I can convince them to look, you've tried your medications for last 5 years. This is where you have reached. So let's try 3 months. Let's try, give it a try. There's no side effects there. And you can only feel better. We can start writing a symptom diary. If you follow the homework, I can guarantee you that there will be some changes. And like from my talk today, if some of you are kind of convinced about some things that kind of comes to me how I present it, and it is authentic talk. So this is how authentic you want to be with your clients, and it will change. And once it takes time because I've been practicing for 23 years now, so it has taken time. And I had felt the same when I was starting my practice. Well, how do I convince, what do I say? But it comes. So wait, keep going, don't give up, but it will change. And I see a lovely comment from our lovely Ratna here. Where is she coming from? That's great. I don't know if you remember Ratna. Rishika, and she said balancing pranayama. Tell us where you are, anyways. All right, next question, Dr. Vivek.
Yeah. Okay, coming to the next. So balancing pranayam first, then indicate it to the patient needs. That's the
That's from Ratna. She had commented on Megha's question, I think. So
the mega coaches. She said that she has got her answer. Thanks for your
yes.
sincere, clear explanation and a wonderful session. Sir, can we get job at Australia after doing our BNYs? This is a question from Santoshji.
Job, this is the most common question I get usually in all the presentation, which is great that somebody is aspiring. Getting job is easy, it's not difficult, but coming to Australia is difficult because there's so many regulations with everything, and naturopathy is very much in in their curriculum. Just to come here, so a lot of people come on a student visa first, get their degree assessed. So it is a long process. So to answer, yes, you can get a job, but coming here is quite tricky.
Okay, so I think you can get in touch with Dr. Anand sir. I request Dr. Anand sir to share his email to the members so that if they want to connect to you, or if you are comfortable sharing your mobile number, you can share in the chat so they can connect you post session if they want to have some guidance on some things.
Yeah, I think through Facebook, I think it's best way because I don't want to be bombarded, and I've had this before. I'd love to help when I can, but yeah, connect through Facebook. That would be fine.
Okay. So hope that answers the question. Coming back to, we have another question from Dr. Meghaji that, sir, I am not into pulse diagnosis due to lack of knowledge. Please comment on it, sir, how it's used and how the diagnosis is done using.
I believe I'm not also a perfect in pulse diagnosis, but I just check the pulse and intuitively try to connect. But I'm sure there are diploma certification courses on pulse diagnosis or a point therapy where you can kind of come down to just needling 1 or 2 points. So for now, just think of the superficial and deep pulses and start feeling. And this also builds up as you do practice more. You really connect more, and that gives a good connection with the client. So it's more about practicing, and I'm sure there will be courses, but I'm not aware about it, but I'm sure there will be.
Okay. We have a Thanksgiving message from Dr. Rashmiji. Thank you, Anand for such an informative
Thank
session.
you. Oh, thank you. Oh, that's lovely to see Rashmi here as well. Nice. Very
Okay.
nice. All
Bhatt,
right.
thank you for explaining so patiently, sir. I had a wonderful
Mhm.
experience when you visited my college for a guest lecture. Glad to be a part of your workshop again. Looking forward to more, sir.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you, Varma. Appreciate that.
And Rishika Suresh ji, she has thanked us. Thank
Yes.
you both for wonderful session. I think enjoying the vast knowledge you both are sharing. Happy to connect.
That's right. That's lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely to see your message, Ratna. Really good. And Rashmi. And last one, Leela Ram Sao says for depression, what kind of practice? I will always come back to breath, Leela Ram, because when your thoughts are clear, things can move faster. And then this lifestyle connecting with nature, sun bath, we say connecting like with the earthing, these things. Fasting can be really good when your body is clean, the mind can flow better. So I feel that would be good. Anything movement, walking is really good, stretching is really good. So yeah, and I think Dr. Vivek can also chip in with anything else.
Leeram sir, I would suggest depression needs some kind of physical movements. So in these scenarios of depression, I would prefer with the sun salutations and the movement dynamic practices, because first we have to bring out the mind from the low state, very low state basically, getting them to a stable condition. And then, yes, as Dr. Anand said, breath work is also one of the method where you can actually get their breath state in connection with the mind. So prefer some dynamic practices followed by the breath work. I think that answers your question. Santosh ji, who is a student to BNYS. Thank you, sir, so much for your wonderful session. So, coming to the vote of thanks for today's session. I think it had been a long session, and I really value Dr. Anand's time for all his presence. So, I thank you all for joining today's workshop on mental and emotional health. You had a great insight on it, and my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Anand Bhatt sir for delivering such a meaningful, insightful, and transformative session. His deep knowledge, compassionate approach, and practical techniques have given all of us clarity, strength, and tools for the inner well-being. I thank every participant for your time, attention, and active involvement. We always are happy with your presence. Your presence is impactful. We look forward to hosting more such workshops which can enrich your learning. So, with that, we sign off for the day. Thank you so much, everyone. Once again, stay balanced and stay healthy.
Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.